It's another edition of Social Distancing at the Chamber, also known as Happy Hour with Hammer. As always, we're joined by the CEO of the Arizona Chamber, Glenn Hammer. Glenn, it's a rare treat when we have a guest on, but it's even sweeter when we have a two-time guest now, the President and CEO of the Arizona Lodging and Tourism Association. We're pleased to welcome back Kim Sabow. Welcome back, Kim.
Thank you so much, Garrick and Glenn. Appreciate you having me on with you again.
Glenn,
well,
toss to you.
We got huge ratings. Garrick, we got huge ratings the last time Kim was on the show. So it's back by popular demand.
That's right.
Wow, okay.
The
Pressure's on.
Absolutely. The big reason we wanted to have you on is I believe, Kim, you've done a better job than any trade association in the state and really articulating and implementing on an industry-wide basis safety protocol. You talk a little bit about that campaign, please.
Absolutely, and please let me start by saying thank you so much. That's a huge compliment, and just greatly appreciate that. I will say that I love the industry for which I work, and we're a resilient industry that is really facing this head on. And we do have a new campaign that we started, and the campaign is really an initiative to begin to restore that consumer confidence that is so critical in these unprecedented times. Our national partner, the American Hotel and Lodging Association, launched an initiative called Safe Stay. And what they did was they brought together all of the national hotel brands and formulated a checklist, if you will, of guidelines, best practices, and standards by which they'd like to see all of the properties adhere, that coupled with CDC guidance. And so what we did was we partnered with them and broke it more down to the state level, and we launched our own initiative, which mirrors their guidelines as well, but it's Arizona specific, and it's called AZ Safe and Clean. And again, that's an initiative to begin to rebuild consumer confidence. So as visitors and travelers are contemplating going back out into the public, into a public facility, they can have some assurances that this particular property is adhering to guidelines that have gone above and beyond.
So for AZ Safe and Clean, if I'm participating, if I'm one of your members and I'm participating, what does the customer see?
So let me start, I guess, by talking through the process of what each property would do. They would go to a checklist that we have provided online, or they contact us. And again, it's a checklist, and it's a self-assessment. But again, it's a checklist that goes over all sorts of health, safety, cleanliness standards that, let me say, are foundational for this industry anyway. So we're going above and beyond. This is an industry that prides itself and builds itself on consumer safety, cleanliness, and well-being. So we're taking it a step beyond. And any member of the AzLTA can reach out to us, take this self-assessment, return that checklist to us, and then we would provide them with a certification. It can be in the form of something electronic that they can use on their website. So as people are looking to make travel plans, they want to see, okay, is this property meeting these guidelines? It can be on the website, be at the front desk, in the front window, you name it. But it is an effort to, again, restore that consumer confidence and let these visitors know we are indeed going above and beyond to ensure the health, safety, and wellness of not only our visitors, but of our employees as well. Leaves you speechless, huh?
No, you left me.
He's stunned.
Usually Garrick jumps in, so
I've left you both stunned.
Kim,
we're both stunned.
Kim, does the participating facility, or does participating entity display something in a window or at the front desk or something like that?
Yes, it's basically a decal. It's an AZ Safe and Clean certified logo, and they can really use it in a number of places, whether it's an electronic logo on their website or again at the front desk, in the front window, but just somewhere where it's visible to consumers that are contemplating traveling, might be worried, might be their first trip. They want to know, hey, this is a property that's going above and beyond in ensuring that all the guidelines formulated and presented by CDC, as well as all the national hotel brands who've gotten together and gone above and beyond in compiling this checklist, those are being adhered to.
Kim, I know you've heard in your business, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. That first trip back for many travelers, that's going to be critically important.
Absolutely. It is going to be critically important. So in addition to the logo or the decal, if you will, these properties are really demonstrating to the consumer what they're doing to keep them safe with regard to signage and hand sanitizers and employees wearing the PPE, the way in which they're cleaning the rooms, the way in which room service is delivered, not reusing disposable items or what have you. These are all things that this industry is going above and beyond in adhering to and demonstrating to the consumer.
Kim, what are we seeing in terms of volume of traffic? We know that there was a very deep drop, but is there some energy? Because I know you've fought successfully to safely reopen pools, to keep golf open, things like that, and poolside restaurants, stuff like that. Is there some good news in terms of the trend?
There is some good news, but I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I always like to frame it up so that we can see where we would be historically, where we've been, and where we've come. So in March, when this pandemic really hit Arizona, it was at the height of our travel season. Spring break, it's March, we've got spring training, we've got visitors from around the world coming, and our occupancy rates would be typically in the 80% range. Those numbers dropped to single digits virtually overnight. It was just a deep,
wow,
swift, blunt force trauma, if you will. And when little by little, as guidance has eased, and fortunately golf courses were always allowed to stay open, so that provided people with something to do outdoors that was safe and enabled them to social distance, et cetera, et cetera. But the next step was really critical, because although hotels were never mandated closed because we were considered essential services, we didn't have amenities to sell with the room. So it's kind of difficult to sell a room if you don't have dining or a pool or a spa or a gym to enjoy. So with the easing in that guidance, that was a nice shot in the arm for this industry that so desperately needed it. And it happened at a key time right before Memorial Day. And it was, I heard great responses. Those numbers, some properties jumped up into the 30% range, which, like I said, was very, very important and so needed.
Well, it's good to hear that the trend's going in the right direction, and I don't believe people are going to be traveling very far from where they live. So I know our family's going to be looking at. We've got a big, beautiful state, and there's all sorts of incredible properties in the state. So I believe it's going to be a time where Arizonans should really take advantage of the safe, beautiful properties that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have to the same extent.
You make a great point, Glenn. As the Chamber of Commerce selling the sunshine, as is our association, we've really got it all in Arizona. I think we're very fortunate, and we're well positioned, if there is such a thing, in a pandemic. We've got these beautiful, lush resorts with lots of room to spread out and social distance. We've got the beautiful outdoors, we've got the pools, we've got the golf courses. And then you go around the state, every corner of the state has something exciting and neat to offer. You go up north, you've got the cooler weather and you have the pines. Then you've got a couple of areas in the state where we've got just amazing wineries, you know, the rolling green vineyards. Got Lake Havasu, which is just a water paradise. And I will tell you what, that particular area of the state was really seeing great numbers when the numbers were down, because they were enjoying a lot of visitors from California and Nevada before Vegas opened back up. And I do think that we're going to see the drive market come back first. Obviously, people little cautious as they re-enter the whole realm of travel. So the drive market's going to be important. But then long term, as we begin to build the consumer confidence, and as we get our arms and science more around the pandemic and come up with potential tools, whether it's a vaccine or modern day technologies to help us return to life and movement. I always say that there's never been a more obvious time that when travel stops, the economy stops. So that's doing its own set of damages to society with the health and wellness from a psychological perspective and an economic perspective.
Kim, you've inspired me. I'm taking a sabbatical, and I'm going to become an Arizona travel writer.
You know what? I can see it. I can see it now.
Hey, Kim, do you have any
my wife
sense?
will let me get a convertible. What do you think? Or a Mustang, one of those cars.
Sure.
Love it. Mustang convertible. I can see it with your hair can be flowing in the wind. It'll be great. Be like a Well of Balsam commercial at the same time.
We'll see if I can get away with it.
Okay.
Kim, do you have any sense of, even anecdotally, of how many of your members, whether your association or even industry-wide, were able to take advantage of the Paycheck Protection Program?
You know, it's been hit and miss. Some were fortunate and were able to access PPP right away. Others weren't as fortunate. And that is, you know, the beauty of our industry is that it is so vast, and it runs the gamut from very small bed and breakfasts to world-class resorts. In addition, we represent our sports teams and entities, our attractions. So a number of businesses of varying sizes and looks, shapes, feels, and some did, some didn't. So we're really seeing a varied response when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I could also just kind of touch on something that is really going to be important for us to look at into the future. You know, our reality as we know it is going to be different. Everything about the way in which we move, travel, and stay in places is going to look different. And that's going to require this industry, as one of the most public-facing industries, to really step it up even more so than we have, but utilize the PPE that is so important. And also any sort of new innovations, as I mentioned, that could help us welcome consumers in a more confident and sort of scientific way, if you will. That's going to represent a big expense. And to an industry that is already suffering and hurt so badly, that's a whole nother hurdle that we're going to need to get over. It's going to be essential that we have these tools in our toolbox, but it's going to come with a huge expense. So Glenn, thank you. Earlier today, you had Senator Sinema on a call, as you do every week, and she's just a phenomenal advocate for our state and for this industry, a big traveler herself. She's advocating and bringing that notion to the forefront, the expense that this industry is going to realize with the added requirements.
And Kim, you could certainly count on our support. I mean, the Phase 4 federal package really needs to include something directly related to the travel and tourism industry. You know, there's been some very important, good provisions that we strongly supported for the airline, but for the broad-based industry, your sector of the economy, and I share Senator Sinema's love for travel, as you know, and some of the viewers here know. We have to make sure the next phase does something, in my opinion, that directly accounts for the unique set of circumstances.
A great way to put it, unique set of circumstances. And again, next steps in reopening is hopefully easing the guidance on numbers of people that can convene in any one place at any one time, because group travel is 50% of all travel and the revenue generated. So conventions, gatherings, weddings, sporting events, all of these gatherings are really facing a big challenge ahead, and we've got to get our arms around what we can do to innovate and bring some tools to help us welcome people with some additional testing and science.
Testing and science, and I'll just say a lot more, Kim, and a lot more of what you're doing. We need to do this around the state, industry by industry, and then we're going to meet your vision of getting the group travel and the larger gatherings back up and running. But you're setting the standard in the state for a sector, particularly one that's consumer facing, adopting the protocols so that we could all feel comfortable traveling.
Thank you. We're doing our best. We're trying to lead by example and do our best to really restore that confidence.
Great. Kim, thanks as always for taking the time to visit with Glenn and me. We know you're extremely busy, but this campaign that you've undertaken is incredibly important, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks again for the opportunity, and visit our website and check out AZ Safe and Clean, and also check out Stay in AZ and all the beautiful places there are to visit in the state, great places to stay. We'd love all the visitors, so come stay in AZ, check us out.
Absolutely.
That's a must follow for all our viewers. And Kim, I know a lot of people, you're great for ratings, so thank you for being on the show again.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure to be on with you.
Thanks, Kim. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you.